We do flower communion, you will have a flower to share. In the face of hate, we answer the call of love. In the face of exclusion, we answer the call of inclusion. In the face of homophobia, we answer the call of LGBTQ rights. In the face of racism, we answer the call of justice for all races. In the face of xenophobia, we answer the call of pluralism. In the face of misogyny, we answer the call of women's rights. In the face of demagoguery, we answer the call of reason. In the face of religious intolerance, we answer the call of diversity. In the face of narrow nationalism, we answer the call of global community. In the face of bigotry, we answer the call of open-mindedness. In the face of despair, we answer the call of hope. As Unitarian Universalists, we answer the call of love now more than ever. Join me now in worship. As is our custom, if you'd like to come and light a candle for a joy, a challenge, or just to bring more light into this room, please do so while we sit in stillness listening to the prelude.
Spring has now unwrapped the flowers, day is fast reviving. Life in all her growing powers, towards the light is striving. Gone the iron touch of cold, winter time and frost time. Seedlings working through the mold, now make up for lost time. All the world with beauty fills, gold the green enhancing. Flowers make merry on the hills, set the meadows dancing. Earth puts on her dress of glee, flowers and grasses hide her. Go we forth in charity, one and all beside her.
Please rise in body or spirit for our chalice lighting, spoken affirmation, and peace candle lighting. Our chalice lighting this morning is Within the Heart of the Flower by Anne Zucker Morgenstern. Within the heart of the flower, the fountain of beauty. Within the heart of the community, a fire that warms and dances. Within the heart of each of us, a spark of the spirit of life. Holy, holy, holy. Join me together as we remind ourselves of the affirmation that is a cornerstone of our free faith tradition. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom, and to help one another. Lead me from death to life, from falsehood to truth. Lead me from despair to hope, from fear to trust. Lead me from hate to love, from war to peace. Let peace fill our hearts, our world, our universe. Peace, peace, peace. Please join me in the words that are now on the screen. We light this peace candle to remind us of all the places in the world where there is no peace. You may be seated. Our opening thought this morning is from Elizabeth M. Strong. It's called Travelers Upon the Earth. Enter into the communion of flowers with joyful hearts. Enter with reverent thoughts. It has taken long months beneath the cold ground for these flowers to prepare their blooming. It has taken each of us long times of growth through sorrow and joy to prepare for our living now. The blooming season is short. The flowers stay only a brief time. We are travelers upon the earth, travelers through all to brief lifetimes. Therefore, let our moments be bountiful. Let us rejoice in our unique colors, aromas, and sounds. Let us celebrate together in love, that as we travel away, we take with us the memory of golden hours together among the flowers.
Color and fragrance, magic or rhythm, sweet changing music will change us with them. Life within life, inner light gently glowing. Surely you seem to be God's vision growing. Oh, starry heavens, worlds of all splendor, suns without number, new life engender, wheel in a wheel with the light brightly glowing, moving in harmony, God's vision growing, and full of pebbles, high mountain passes, depths of the ocean, dew on the grasses, great things and small, with the light gently glowing, word of the wordless song, God's vision growing, delicate beings, lacewing and sparrow, in field and forest, clover and yarrow, life greeting life with the light brightly glowing, none are too soon. vision growing. In human eyes burns the soul of living, illumines altars of loving giving. Beating we meet, seeing light brightly glowing, share in a greater life, God's vision growing. Shaper of all things, to us you've given a chance to keep here on earth a heaven, moving in harmony, light gently glowing. May we be gratefully God's vision growing.
Teresa and David Schwartz wrote the following story, the story of Norbert Čapek's Flower Communion, which we are celebrating today. His mother was a devout Catholic, his father agnostic. He became an acolyte at the age of 10 in 1890 at St. Martin's Catholic Church. In the years that followed, he became disillusioned. His priest was a cynic. At 18, apprenticed to his uncle, a successful tailor in Vienna, Norbert discovered the Baptists and became a minister. He founded almost a dozen churches from Ukraine to Budapest. Yet slowly, his faith became more and more liberal. He left Bohemia under government threat and accepted a call to serve a Baptist church in New York City. Until one day in 1919, that day he wrote in his diary, "I cannot be Baptist anymore, even in compromise. The fire of new desires, new worlds, is burning inside of me." Norbert and his wife, Maya Čapek, joined a Unitarian church in New Jersey in 1921 for the same reason that many do. Their children like the religious education program. That's the power of our Sunday school teachers. Kids, that's your power too. World War I ended. His home country now independent, he and Maya returned to Czechoslovakia. His Unitarian church was the Prague Liberal Religious Fellowship. In just 20 years, his church had 3,200 members. The traditional Christian communion service of bread and wine wouldn't meet the needs of his congregation because his church, like ours, had people who believed in different things. Čapek turned to the beauty of the countryside, to the beauty of flowers. In 1923, he developed the flower ceremony. He asked his congregants to bring a flower to church from their gardens, the field, or the roadside. He invited each person to place their flower in a vase. There was the church community, no less unique for being united. Following the service, each person could take a flower from the vase, a different one than they had brought. Čapek was a visionary minister within a church ahead of its time, a bold church, a church thinking beyond its doors, beyond what it thought possible. It was a church that was willing to take risks, to make tough decisions, to bear disappointment, and to build a new way. First, by building a church, and that church could build up the world. That is our church. That was Čapek's church. For this, the Gestapo arrested him in 1942. The Nazis accused Čapek of listening to foreign broadcasts and sent him to the Dachau concentration camp. Even in starvation and torture, he held a flower ceremony with his fellow prisoners, finding whatever flowers they could among the weeds of the camp. They testified to a beauty larger than themselves and a love that would outlive them. The Nazis killed Norbert Chopik, but his spirit, courage, and commitment live on today. Those qualities have passed now to us to make them real. His wife, Maya, brought the flower communion ceremony to the Unitarian Church in Cambridge, Massachusetts in 1940. What we are about to do is not a historical reenactment of something over and done, but an affirmation of our continuity with the generations of struggle for ever-widening liberty. This flower ceremony, lovely though it is, isn't a diversion from ugly reality, but a gentle fierceness which proclaims that in the midst of sinister days, there is always the light of beauty. We are here not to recall something that happened, but to remember something that is happening, to remember, to put it back together again. And in that remembering, may we put ourselves back together again, each as a part of the body of this community. Out of many, one. As Chopik asked his people to bring a flower and celebrate beauty, so shall we. Please bring your flowers forward and place them in the vase while we sing the doxology of the flowers. We'll do it starting on this side and then work around. And we've got two vases up here, and I have a third one down underneath in case we need to put a third one in. If you don't have your flower, please help yourself to one of the flowers that are back on the AV desk so that you may participate as well.
In colors bright and essence sweet, like flowers we blossom when we meet. O source of life, our song we raise. This beauty fills our hearts with praise. In colors bright and essence sweet, like flowers we blossom when we meet. O source of life, our song we raise. This beauty fills our hearts with praise. In colors bright and essence sweet, like flowers we blossom when we meet. O source of life, our song we raise. This beauty fills our hearts with praise. In colors bright and essence sweet, like flowers we blossom when we meet. O source of life, our song we raise. This beauty fills our hearts with praise. In colors bright and essence sweet, like flowers we blossom when we meet. O source of life, our song we raise. This beauty fills our hearts with praise. In colors bright and essence sweet, like flowers we blossom when we meet. O source of life, our song we raise. This beauty fills our hearts with praise. In colors bright and essence sweet, like flowers we blossom when we meet. O source of life, our song we raise. This beauty fills our hearts with praise. essence sweet. Like flowers we blossom when we meet. O source of life, our song we raise. This beauty fills our hearts with praise. In colors bright and essence sweet, like flowers we blossom when we meet. O source of life, our song we raise. This beauty fills our hearts with praise.
Join together now for our time of practices. I can't see everybody over there. With words, stillness, and music. Our words this morning are Jennifer Pratt Walters, The Colors of Communion. Flowers chant their wordless songs of color and scent, delighting like a joyful choir at dawn. I breathe in with my whole body, feeling how it is we grow, quietly rising together among spring's green and dew. The rhythm of seasons rolls ahead, and I, a shy blossom, voice my small prism of song. I am singing of the wonder of how roots so love the buds they bid them grow, unseen as they are, while the buds never look back. David Rico wrote the following words for our second reading. We go on loving. What makes us human beings so uniquely wonderful in this puzzling universe is that we never give up on love. Against all odds, with no guarantee of being loved in return, out of the hate and hurt so often handed us, in the face of the sad, suffering history, has let us see we go on loving. What deep respect we deserve for this capacity of ours to make love out of anything and to let it last.
Love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. Without them, humanity cannot survive. The Dalai Lama, the 14th. Over the last several months, we have listened as Dr. Mark Davies talked to us about the 7 principles of Unitarian Universalism. As I listened, I came to understand that the root of all of them is compassion. We hear the word compassion tossed around all the time, especially during critical events. But what is it? What is it not? How do we practice it? Why do we need it, and what do we get out of it? Merriam-Webster.com defines compassion as sympathetic consciousness of others' distress, together with a desire to alleviate it. In a 2016 paper titled An Empirical Examination of the Factor Structure of Compassion, scientists Jenny Gu, Kate Kavanaugh, Ruth Baer, and Clara Strauss discovered that, quote, compassion has been defined as consisting of the following 5 elements. 1, recognizing suffering. 2, understanding the universality of suffering in human experience. 3, feeling moved by the person suffering and emotionally connecting with their distress. 4, tolerating uncomfortable feelings aroused, for example, fear or distress, so that we remain open to and accepting of the person's suffering. And 5, acting or being motivated to act to alleviate suffering. Compassion is not empathy. Compassion takes empathy one step further because it harbors the desire for all beings to be free from suffering, and it's imbued with a desire to help. So, action. This is the difference. While empathy stops at actively sharing in the emotional experience of others, compassion includes a desire to relieve the distress that they are feeling. Compassion is not pity. Glennon Doyle, the American author and activist, says, compassion does not just happen. Pity does, but compassion is not pity. It's not just a feeling. Compassion is a viewpoint, a way of life, a perspective, a habit that becomes a discipline, and more than anything else, compassion is a choice that we make that love is more important than comfort or convenience. Compassion is not thoughts and prayers or the simple posting of an emoji. There's been a huge movement on social media in the last year about the hypocrisy of thoughts and prayers from those who see it as a substitute for real action in the wake of domestic or foreign terroristic acts of violence. Within the Christian tradition, it negates the directive given by the brother of Christ in James chapter 2, verse 14 through 16, from the modern literal version in 2017. What does it profit, my brethren, if someone says he has faith but does not have works? Is that faith able to save him? But if a brother or sister is naked and may be deficient of daily nourishment, and any one out of you may say of them, go in peace, be warmed and fed, but you do not give them the body's requirements, what does it profit? So also your faith, if it does not have works, is dead in itself. Muslims also believe that acts of compassion are a central tenet of their faith. From the Quran, chapter 99, verse 7 and 8, So whoever does an atom's weight of good will see it. And whoever does an atom's weight of evil will see it. In modern language, this means that even small acts of kindness are meaningful and will not go unnoticed by Allah. Opportunities, large or small, to help others are equally important. No one is excluded from kindness and compassion, human or animal. The German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer wrote, "The assumption that animals are without rights and the illusion that our treatment of them has no moral significance is a positively outrageous example of Western crudity and barbarity. Universal compassion is the only guarantee of morality." It might comfort you to know that compassion is natural. A growing body of empirical evidence suggests that at our core, C.S. Lewis was correct when he stated that everyone has a knowledge of what is right and what is wrong. Both animals and human beings have what's been called a compassionate instinct. This means that compassion is a natural and automatic response that has ensured our survival. We are, in fact, social animals, so being pro-social allows us to continue being part of our society. Darwin himself comments in his works, The Descent of Man and Selection in Relation to Sex, that, quote, communities which included the greatest number of the most sympathetic members would flourish best and rear the greatest number of offspring. The Dalai Lama the 14th also says, if you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. Besides survival, compassion makes us more attractive to potential mates. In various studies, both men and women agree that kindness is one of the most highly desirable traits. Compassion helps us connect with others, maintain and mend relationships, and move forward in our spiritual and life journeys while fostering emotional intelligence and well-being. In a Johns Hopkins study released last year, research showed that among healthcare workers, some of our most important and overworked friends and family in recent years, showing more compassion is associated with less burnout. Multiple studies support that being a giving, others-focused person is linked with a longer life and can buffer the effects of stressful events on mortality risk, as well as maintain vitality and cognitive function as we age. Focusing on selfless acts has even been shown to have pain-relieving effects. Within the professional realm, a University of South Carolina study found that people with pro-social motivation, those who are kinder and more generous, tend to have higher incomes compared to selfish people. And by the way, research also shows that you have to be genuinely altruistic, not strategically helping others or forced into it, or it won't work. What about compassion for self? Ooh, now we're getting into the rough stuff. In psychology, self-compassion is defined as extending compassion to yourself in instances of perceived inadequacy, failure, or general suffering. On her website, selfcompassion.org, American psychologist Dr. Christian Neff has elaborated, saying that self-compassion is composed of three main elements: self-kindness, common humanity, and mindfulness. Self-kindness means that you are warm towards yourself when you encounter pain and personal shortcomings. Rather than ignoring them or hurting yourself with criticism. Compassion for self also involves recognizing that suffering and personal failure is a part of the shared human experience rather than an isolating factor. Mindfulness involves taking a balanced approach to your negative emotions so that feelings are not suppressed or exaggerated. Negative thoughts and emotions are observed with openness so that they are held in mindful awareness. Mindfulness is a state of mind that is non-judgmental and receptive so that we can process our thoughts and feelings as they are. Conversely, mindfulness requires that we don't over-identify with mental or emotional phenomena so that we don't suffer adverse reactions. Albert Ellis, the great psychologist, calls it, quote, unconditional self-acceptance. Other experts have called it internal empathizing and having acceptance and empathy for yourself as well as focusing on caring for yourself. The latest advertising buzzwords, self-care. Research indicates that those of us who practice self-compassion experience greater psychological health than those who do not. It is positively associated with life satisfaction, wisdom, happiness, optimism, curiosity, social connectedness, personal responsibility, and emotional resilience and intelligence. All parts of prosocial behavior. When we care about ourselves, we're willing to experience discomfort for our well-being. Research shows that self-compassionate people are more likely to exercise, eat well, get regular medical checkups, and generally engage in health-promoting behavior. This brings us to our call to action. The UUA website states, quote, the work that we do together to build a world in which all of us are free and thriving is interrelated. When we ground our spirits, grow our skills, and act strategically for justice in deep relationship with each other and our movements, we choose to side with love. End quote. This means that as UUs, we offer and encourage multiple opportunities to find your passion to serve. While this is not an exhaustive list by any means, here are various committees and teams at Red River UU that impact the community. Please seek out any of our members to be directed to the right people to talk to in order to join and serve on any of these communities/teams. Social justice, which involves dealing with things like racism, discrimination, gender justice, gun control, voting rights, and homelessness. The LGBTQ++ welcoming team. We have outreach at local events such as Earth Day. We do the kids' clothing exchange. We participate with Grace and Pride in Pride Prom and the Grace and Pride Festival, as well as hosting our own events such as Friendsgiving, the Family Holiday Celebration, and the Fairy and Fae Tea Party. We have our green team, how we continue to embody our principles by taking care of our earth. Our caring team, working for our congregation to show empathy and compassion to members in crisis. There are also the committees that are directly related to the functioning of our church. We have our board of trustees, our worship team, the building and grounds team, our greeters, the food teams, and more importantly, the stewardship campaign. But what about every day? The small acts, remember, are just as important as the grand gestures. A simple act of compassion can make a positive impact on someone else's day as well as your own. I've striven to practice and teach my children and grandchildren to smile at others as they encounter them. It's free, and you never know how it may impact a person. It literally can save a life. Plus, no matter your mood, it will make you feel better since it releases positive chemicals into your brain when you do it. Pay it forward. Buy a stranger's coffee or meal. Give to someone who is desperately in need. There is a story of a man whose economic situation was less impacted by the Great Depression than his neighbors. He began to hire local unemployed men to build a rock wall on his property. Then he told them he changed his mind about where he wanted them, so he had them move it a little. Once they were done, he said he didn't like it there, so he paid them to move it again and again. That wall moved many times until all the men were able to get jobs again. Compassion lies at the heart of all religious, ethical, and spiritual traditions, calling us always to treat all other living things as we want to be treated ourselves. It's not just doing, it's living our principles, our vision of the beloved community that is inclusive, kind, and free of the evils that are inflicted on humanity. As we grow in our consciousness, there will be more compassion and more love. And then the barriers between people, between religions, between nations will begin to fall. Yes, we have to beat down the separateness. Ram Dass. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Our giving words this morning are generosity of spirit. They're written by Victoria Weinstein. The purpose of the church is to encourage all who gather there to grow more generous in spirit and in action. This is the great end of all the world's faith traditions, to bring the human being closer to the divine by acts of creation and compassion. We now take an offering that allows us to exercise that all-important generosity of spirit, an offering that will support this self-supporting church and its many ministries. The gifts of the congregation will be most gratefully received. The bowl awaits over here, or you may donate online. During our closing song this morning, we are going to again test to see if you can walk and chew gum at the same time. While we are singing this hymn, Come Sing a Song With Me, performed by Dan Altoff, please come forward and select a flower. Since we started from this side last time, we'll start from this side. And when you have gotten your flower that you want to choose, generally one different than what you brought, then you'll return to your seat.
song with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love that arose in the winter tide. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love that rose in the winter time. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love that arose in the winter time. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love that rose in the winter time.
I invite you to rise in body or spirit for the benediction and extinguishing the chalice. Hear these words, Flower Communion Blessing by Thomas Rhodes. Within our hands, we hold the resurrection of the world. Transient and imperfect, these blossoms are still gifts of infinite value, like ourselves. Too often, we seek permanence and perfection, resisting change, blind to our shortcomings. We become caught up in the petty issues and routine activities of our daily lives. But may these flowers serve as a reminder, as they allow themselves to open to the heavens, for despite their imperfections, they still have integrity. And though they are transient, they contain the seeds of transcendence, just like ourselves. Let us then also open ourselves to mystery and wonder, fretting not about small mishaps or even for now, great misfortune. For the resurrection of the world is at our fingertips. The resurrection lies within us. Please join me in saying the words to extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go in peace, return in love.
Snacks upstairs.